Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode, we're going to be taking a look at a piece by the artist Mike Winkelmann, also known as Beeple. In this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about, say, the mix of the virtual as well as the physical. We're going to talk a little bit about the evolution through time based on data sets. We're also going to talk about fighting back against the stigma that's carried by normal NFT artists. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, you're met with a scene of a kinetic, what we'd call a kinetic video sculpture here. And so this is actually in real life, so it merges the IRL as well as the virtual, so we definitely see that for sure. We see what appears to be a subject walking within the confines of this frame and form. And so this prism really kind of contains that, and it does that quite masterfully. So the origins of this piece, Beeple actually said that they were kind of experimenting with different TV sets, and they arranged TVs into, what we see here, which is that kind of prismatic form. And so what he realizes is this is a really profound and very powerful potential for a canvas. And so that really was the origins of the work at hand. So we definitely see that for sure. And the result is kind of like this optical illusion almost. As you walk around it, it looks like it's much bigger on the inside than it looks like on the outside. So very, very cool optical illusion that's achieved by that. And we see our subject kind of endlessly walking within this. So this is an animation, so this just is a screenshot. It doesn't give you the full picture, although I do have a bit more to show you guys here in a second. And so, with that in mind, we do see that endless loop. He's kind of just walking endlessly, of course, confined within the form and frame of that prism. And so Beeple is a very, very, very popular artist nowadays. He made absolute waves in Christie's with his $69 million sale of Everydays. And so he really kind of blew up the NFT scene in many different ways, really raised a lot of awareness, and even kind of sparked a massive gold rush towards that. And, we're really feeling the results of that in so many different ways, whether it's artists able to make a living all the way to the bad actors that are trying to scam using NFTs. So, it really is a double-edged sword in many ways. But Beeple's come up, he's been working for well over a decade. He started off doing kind of like concert visuals and stuff like that. And eventually he actually saw his piece out in the wild one day. I believe it was just somewhere in Asia, but he saw it. And that's when he realized, this is when it could really get big. So whenever he saw it out in the wild, he realized just how big it could get and how big of an impact he could have. And so today, Beeple enjoys widespread popularity and widespread fame. Although, in a lot of his interviews, it doesn't necessarily seem like he wants extreme fame or wants everybody to know his name. He just really likes creating in his own bubble. And, he answers questions when necessary and he helps people when necessary. But it seems like he's kind of grappling with that sense of fame, whether he, enjoys it or whether he's kind of like that double-edged sword. But regardless of that, we definitely see this really, really nice piece here. And so the way that it works actually is Beeple has a data set of different environments. We're going to look at that here in a second. And so there's different environments throughout the work. And so each time whenever you see this piece, it's actually going to be so that creates a very dynamic visual experience, of course, a very novel visual experience for the viewer as well. And it's just absolutely stunning how he used that based on a different data set. And, even 10, tomorrow, 10, 20 years from now, he could go back, he could add some more data sets, add some new environments, and then it's going to change the piece completely. And so that's really, really, really cool. I haven't seen anything like that before. Of course, I am kind of new to the art world, so I haven't, I can't necessarily pull that history out, but I think that this is a very cool, very dynamic piece based on that data set. And so I'll show you guys a quick example of what I'm talking about here. So if you guys look, this is based on the data set, so it's always going to change each time you see it. So that feels a really novel, a really different visual experience each time, and it leaves the viewer almost feeling like they're evolving alongside that piece. So we definitely see that for sure. And so with that in mind, we see the evolution and that journey across that. And he actually mentioned that, as he goes through his journey as an artist, he's going to pull more and more different things into that. And so, we're kind of evolving right alongside him. And we can even draw some kind of analogies to the long journey of life. Of course, you're always going to move through those different environments. You're always going to evolve into a different perspective. You're going to evolve into a different person. So we definitely could draw kind of some abstract metaphors from that for sure. And I think that's just incredibly, incredibly cool. Just the fact that it's set on that data set is just, it really blows my mind. I'm kind of lost for words for that. It's very clever, and I really love that. And so we see how he merges the virtual with the physical for sure. So say looking at this, for example, we see what appears to be some type of museum curator. That is not the original artist, but he's looking at this piece here. You can see it's a little bit taller than the average person, so you're kind of looking up at it almost. Not very high up, but it is kind of face to face, just a little bit elevated. And so we see definitely how it merges the IRL with the virtual. And so with that in mind, you go to this place and it's going to be set in the middle of the floor. This is Beeple's Human 1. So each time you see it, it's going to be new, but he really blends the IRL with the virtual, whether it's using screens or whether it's the NFT that accompanies this piece. There's definitely so many different ways you could see that merge. He's not trying to show that it's the virtual or the physical. He's showing that it's the virtual and the physical. We don't have to choose over one or the other. We can really kind of merge and combine both while still being very artistic and very safe about that. So we definitely see that for sure. And finally, the last thing I wanted to hit on is the idea of the non-fungible tokens and the stigma surrounded by the artists that create there. And it is definitely a double-edged sword, because the profound level of accessibility for people minting NFTs has allowed everyday, very small artists to be able to get a chance to make a living with their art, but it's also allowed a lot of bad actors to come in the space and to prey on those who are, less experienced or more vulnerable. So that's incredibly important, and I think that we really need to be mindful of that. And we should ask ourselves, should all of the artists that are in the space carry the stigma by the handful of bad actors, or should we, look at the artists differently than the bad actors and support them separately? Personally, I'm really part of the latter. I think we should support the artists. I think we should separate them from the bad actors, because the bad actors are really ruining the space for so many people. And Beeple actually mentions that a little bit. He said that he hopes to fight back against the bad stigma of NFTs, really by setting an example and really just staying true to that vision and that ideal. So I think that's a really, really good lesson we can draw from that. Of course, set an example. It's going to take a sizable majority to really set an example, to really change the stigma around non-fungible tokens, to allow a whole new level of accessibility and a lot more awareness about what this technology can actually do. Of course, you can mint any type of file, any type of digital photo, video, code, document, anything, and then you can for trade and sell. So NFTs have been an absolute revolution, and of course there are negative and positive aspects of that for sure. So just, the advice that I would say is focus on your day-to-day creation. Do not fall into the trap of being a bad actor, because if you do, then you're going to ruin your reputation for the rest of your life. And so, set an example, be a very genuine artist, be genuine. Try to give as much value to your buyers as possible, and you can really set an example. We can change the stigma around NFTs day by day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this piece. It's really, really nice. We talked a little bit about this evolving data set that provides different visual experiences each time. We also talked about the merging of the IRL with the physical world. We talked a little bit about Christie's and the really historic sale of the $69 million piece from Beeple that really blew everything up. And then we also talked about, say, the stigma around NFTs and how we can change that, separating the bad actors from the genuine day-to-day creators that are trying to make a living in this space. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed this piece, go check out Beeple's works. He's doing everyday stuff each and every day. He's always releasing a new piece. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.